What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's the King Koopa. Thank you for stopping by. Today we're going to be doing a little customizing on our SS bumper for our Silverado. We're going to be adding this air deflector. It's off a 2005 to 2006 Tahoe. I bought this off Rock Auto. The link is in the description below. Hopefully this turns out pretty well. I'm really excited for it. It's kind of like 50-50 with some people. Some people like it, some people don't. So hopefully this turns out pretty good. But before we do get started, I would like to say a special thank you to all of you guys, all my viewers, my subscribers, all the people that leave comments and likes. I really appreciate it. We also just hit all the criteria to become a YouTube partner, which has been a huge goal of mine. So thank you, all of you guys. I really appreciate it. I do a lot of these videos to try to help you guys out, but I'm also super excited because hopefully I can fund my vehicle addiction. I don't expect to become a millionaire or anything like that, but it would definitely help to buy more parts and be able to film more, get some better equipment. So thank you guys, I really appreciate it. So let's get started on the air deflector. Now, one thing to note with this air deflector, because we're about to test fit it, is that it does have this ridge right here that runs almost the entire length all the way until the end. So we are actually going to use this ridge, so it's going to sit on the inside of the bumper. You can choose to use that, choose not to. There's probably a couple different ways that you can mount this. I'm going to be trimming some of this lip off because it is hitting on a couple spots underneath the bumper, which I will show you once we test fit it. We are going to be drilling holes in the bottom of the SS bumper. Some people might be nervous to do that. I really wouldn't be too nervous. Worst case scenario, you can always use 3M double-sided tape. I really wouldn't recommend it. Or you could just go to your local Harbor Freight, pick you up a set of 3 of these clamps, couple bucks each, run it on there, clamp it onto the bottom of your bumper, and just run it like that. No problem. So we're going to stick it up underneath there, clamp her on, do a little test fit, and it should look something like this. We just have it clamped on right now. Now, it is very important to mark with a paint marker the center point of the air deflector and the center point on the bottom of your SS bumper. These ends do stick out a little far, and you really want to make sure that it is centered on your bumper. Here's the side view of how far it sticks out. We are going to have to trim this piece off so it can sit flush, but it should look something like that. Also note that this air deflector is about 4.5 inches from the end of your SS bumper, so it does not go all the way back. Now that we are under the truck, you can see where I marked. We are going to have to cut this section out, and we are going to have to cut this section out so that it'll allow it to slide up and in because it's hitting this part of the SS bumper, and my bracket is right here in the way. Now that we had it mocked up, we marked our lines. Here's a better view of where we are going to cut it. Now we're going to use our oscillating multi-tool to just cut off this top section of the plastic. Do not cut into the bottom part. Better put some gloves on, bud. There we go, that section is cut. We touched it up just a little bit with some 240 grit sandpaper, just so it's smooth and there's no big chunks of plastic. We're going to do another test fitting to make sure everything fits snug. The square air vent on the SS bumper sits right here, and it does sit just a little bit higher than the SS bumper, so I'm not sure if we're going to leave this or if we cut that off, if it'll look a little funny or not. Now we're doing some more test fitting. I honestly don't think it looks too bad. I think it looks pretty clean, but there is one issue with using the Tahoe air deflector. It is actually longer than the SS bumper. Let me show you what I mean. Here's how I currently have it clamped, and it is about maybe 2 inches underneath the SS bumper. Now that does have quite a bit of curvature from the front to the back. There is a large gap right here. And the reason for that is if I unclamp it and try to mount it like this, it's going to be way too far up the side of the bumper. No big deal, so we're going to have to curve it back just a little bit, push it nice back right there, tuck it up underneath, but that is going to leave a kind of a large gap right here. So that is one thing to note. We stopped at the hardware store, picked us up some stainless steel M6 bolts, so we have about 6 of them that we're going to use. We're going to mount 2 in the center and 2 on the corners. The air deflector is clamped in place right now. We already measured both ends and made sure that it was perfectly centered and that both ends curve in to the exact same side, so they have the same measurements from the back of the bumper and the depth-wise that they curve in. So remember, always measure twice, cut once. So in this situation, you want to always double-check your measurements before we drill our holes because you are drilling into your SS bumper cover. The type of hardware you could use is stainless steel bolts, zip ties, or some people also use the little black push pins. And you might be asking why zip ties? Well, some people use zip ties because if they do have a lower truck and you drive over something in the road or on the highway, something low that hits the air deflector, some people say the zip ties break and then it just rips the air deflector off. Some people do say that if you use bolts, that if this hits it it hard enough, it can actually crack the bottom part of your SS bumper where the mounting hardware is located. My truck only has a 2 and 4 drop on it right now. We plan to go with a 4.6 later down the road, so I'm really not too worried about it. So I'm just going to use some nuts and bolts, and we're going to make sure that they're stainless so that way they don't rust. So now we have the 2 bolts in the middle, and we have this bolt on the far outside corner installed, and it does sag just a tiny bit. There's a little gap right here. So we're going to drill one more hole and add a bolt right about here up underneath, and that's going to add a lot of sturdiness to it, because without it there is quite a bit of flex. This is going to be our 6 bolt in total, 2 in the middle and 2 on both sides.
Oh, hot baby.
And that is a wrap for this modification, guys. It really wasn't that hard. It did take a couple hours to do. Honestly, would have went a lot faster if I put jack stands underneath the truck. And we did take the truck out for a test drive. Everything performed flawlessly. I was afraid at high speeds that it was going to get a little bit flimsy, but that wasn't the case. Everything held on strong, and I couldn't be happier. Especially for how little this modification costs. It really beefs up the front end and makes the truck look a lot lower, which is exactly what I was wanting. We do plan to go lower right now. We just have other priorities on the list. So I hope you guys enjoyed this modification and this quick little video. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask them in the comments below. Let me know what you think we should do next to Betty White or the little black truck. So if you guys could please hit that subscribe button and that like button. Thank you so much. I would really appreciate it, and hope you guys are having a great day.